Have you ever tried learning English through apps, podcasts, grammar drills, only to realize that when you're actually in a conversation, you freeze up? You know the words, you understand the rules, but speaking feels unnatural, slow, or even robotic. One of the most powerful ways to break through that block is through storytelling. Not just reading stories, but experiencing language through real moments, through people and places. That's how your brain begins to think in English, not just translate from in your own language. So if you're serious about sounding natural and fluent, subscribe right now. And stick around, because this story might just change how you see learning English forever. When he got the job, he didn't think much of it. Just another temporary gig during the off-season. The stadium was quiet in the mornings and crowded only on training days. His job was simple: sweep the benches, keep the locker corridors clean, and make sure no curious fan got too close to the restricted areas. He liked being there early. The floodlights hummed in the silence, and the cool air over the grass felt peaceful. One day, around 6 in the morning, he saw the gate roll up earlier than usual. A tall man in black joggers and a hoodie stepped onto the turf. He wasn't alone, 2 staff members followed close behind. At first, the worker didn't recognize him. The hoodie was pulled low, and the sun hadn't risen yet. Then he saw the familiar number printed on the shorts. The training gear was custom. This wasn't just anyone. It was Ronaldo. From that day, everything changed. Ronaldo trained there several times that month. Always early, always quiet. The worker never approached him. He just observed, from a distance, how discipline looked in motion. The man would stretch precisely, run drills, practice footwork again and again. Sometimes he stayed after his session, alone on the grass, breathing heavily while staring up at the stands as if imagining something bigger. One morning, while pushing a cart of training cones back to the storage shed, the worker dropped one. It rolled down the slope toward the field. Without thinking, he ran after it. Just as he reached it, he heard a voice behind him. "You missed one." He turned. Ronaldo was holding a bright orange cone in his hand, smiling faintly. "Thanks," the worker said, surprised he could even speak. It came out clearly, without hesitation. "No problem," Ronaldo replied, nodding. It was just a brief exchange, but something clicked. The worker had always struggled with speaking English confidently. He knew enough to understand movies and follow instructions at work, but real conversation always made him nervous. But that day, he spoke without translating, without thinking. It felt natural. Later that week, he found himself talking more. To staff. To a few international trainers. To tourists who visited the stadium grounds. He realized that being surrounded by English, not just studying it, was what made the difference. He began to write down small notes after work. Sentences he heard. Phrases Ronaldo used with his trainers. He repeated them out loud while walking home. The stadium had become his classroom. By the end of the season, the worker didn't just have memories of seeing a football legend up close. He had something more valuable: confidence in his English. Not because he'd memorized vocabulary lists, but because he'd lived through the language. Let's look back at what you can take from this story. First, immersion matters. When you're around English in real contexts, like this stadium, you stop thinking about grammar and start absorbing rhythm and flow. Second, don't underestimate the power of listening and observation. Just by hearing native speakers in action, you start picking up how they phrase things, when they pause, and how they respond naturally. Third, the most effective learning happens when the stakes feel real. In that moment with Ronaldo, the worker didn't have time to translate in his head. That pressure helped him break through his hesitation. Your task today: put yourself in an environment, real or simulated, where you have to use English. Watch a sports interview without subtitles. Narrate your day out loud in English. Get used to thinking, not just studying. And if this story gave you something valuable, don't forget to subscribe. We post daily stories that teach you real English the way it's actually used. See you in the next one.